Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a brand new league racing video. This is WOR round 7 around Qatar, and so last week we did pretty well with a second place finish around Belgium with no practice. However, for Qatar this weekend, or for this race, I have prepared really well. We are leading the championship by 3 points to Lucas Blakely, and I practiced really hard for this round, so I hope we can do well in qualifying. And even better than last week, because last week we qualified P9 on almost no practice, so qualifying pace seems to be good, much better than last year's game for sure. I felt more comfortable and consistent so far on this year's game. So yeah, going very well so far, leading the championship by 3 points of course, and today we're going to try and extend it by a good margin. So Q1 here, first run, Lucas Blakely goes to provisional P1, and then Nicolas Longuet improves with a 20.137. Now PSL was around Qatar as well of course, and we lacked pace, not gonna lie, but yeah, just 1.5 day of practice on a new track is just not enough, and we had to find that out the hard way. So I grinded really hard for this round 4 days later, and yeah, let's hope we can do much better. Last time out in PHL we went out in Q1. This time we're gonna try and make it into Q2 on a single set of tires. So through into the last sector we go. You can see there purple middle on the track map, and this is all quite easy flat out. This might be a small lift as you can see there, but honestly could be flat out if you nail it. So into the final corner we go, 5th gear, DRS is gonna open, and it is gonna be our 120.193, and that puts us to P4, and that's enough to make it into Q2 on a single set of tires. As you can see right there, P9 at the end. A lot of people also improved of course, but those people did use 2 new sets of tires, and we only had to use 1 set of new tires. Now in PSL there is a regulation where after every qualifying there will be a new lobby made, which means the tires reset, but on WR that's not the case. So in Q2 we're gonna try and do the exact same thing. So we have a new set of softs for the race in case we want it, and this is Q2, our first new set of tires. Our first run was on a used set of tires where I forgot to open the DRS on the last straight. So we had 3 tenths up, but we're about to gain a whole lot more. Simply we forgot to turn on the DRS button, and we're currently only P12 right there, but DRS we're about to jump up to P2, and that was a reasonable good lap. And as you can see there, Ismail Fassi with a grid penalty. So we only did 1 run, ended up P6, risked a little bit there by staying in for our last run by saving another set of tires for the race in case we need it. But yeah, not necessary because Ismail Fassi got an unfair penalty, and I hope Cody's is going to do something about these grid penalties, drive-through penalties and stop-and-go penalties. It would be nice if there would be an option to disable all of those just for league racing, because they're very often just useless. A lot of leagues, or every single league, just hand out penalties themselves if they need, of course. And yeah, if you get a penalty for speeding in the pits, just add it up at the end race time, you know, so in case something is unfair you don't lose those 5 seconds in the race. It's a bit frustrating, so I hope in the future we can have an option to turn that off. So first run in Q3 here, new set of tires of course. We only have time for 2 flying laps, so we cannot even use
so hard.
We cannot even use those 3 new sets of softs. But up to the line, first banker lap, or only banker lap, a 19.7, which puts us P3. However, we need to improve a lot more in order to get pole position here. P1 is also a 19.7 at the moment, but we want more. We want pole position again, and Lucas is a tough cookie to beat in qualifying, especially in the last run in Q3. It's just been so strong there. PSG Silverstone, he just beat us, and I just want to outqualify him for the first time in a long time again, and we are trying our best to do that here. 200s up at the moment, which is definitely not enough, but you can hear me say on my banker lap I lost a lot of time in the final sector, so there is still time to find there, as this lap has also been a little bit scruffy so far. Few little mistakes with slides. We did gain time through there, as Lucas Blakely puts in 19.570. So unless we can put in an insane last sector and improve by 2/10. We will not get pole position. Can we improve 2/10 is the question here. A little bit of a moment through the fast left-hander, almost 1/10 up. We're gonna have to gain 1/10 in the final corner if we want to get pole position. We gain a lot, but it's not gonna be enough. It's only 1/10 improvement. Where will it put us though? It is gonna be a 19.649, and that puts us P2, 700
P2.
behind Lucas. Unfortunately, we are behind him again. By 8/100 this time. Yeah, it was just not a good lap. Simple as that. Not good enough. Happy it's P2. I'm also happy I can qualify in the top 3 now with not good laps. Whereas I felt like on last game, even if I put a perfect lap in, I would only be P6, P7. So it's a good sign that we're on the right way, you know. And that the practice is paying off because we only qualified P17, I think so, in PSGL. So on to the race we go then. Me and Lucas both on the mediums. The rest is on hards. It's going to be 5 red lights and away we go for WOR round 7 around Qatar. Let's hope we can pull off a much better race this time than PSGL. Into turn 1 we go around the outside of Lucas. Trying to hold it around. He squeezes it a little bit and I decided to back out as there's no point in us fighting at the moment. We need to get away from the pack as the rest is on a different strategy. So we're going to have to push here to try and break the DRS in the next 2.5 laps. Because otherwise we might both be in trouble here. Which is not what we want. We want to win, both me and Lucas. So we are pushing on this opening lap. You can see Lucas' car moving around a little bit there, trying to get the most out of those fresh medium tires. And the advantage is going to fade, of course, in the coming laps. Especially around Qatar, where the tire is so high.
Still not pushing. P3 to P7 all on hards.
However, Lucas had a different plan. Lucas just decided to take a chill and not go too crazy in the opening laps. He didn't try to break DRS, I think so. Not sure why, but I'm sure he had his own plan in his head. And
Nico still same ERS as you guys.
Lap 3 here, we're gonna go past Lucas into the lead. But it's too late now to try and break the DRS, so we're yeah, just gonna do the same, not go too crazy. We need to be careful of track limits as well, of course, to not get a penalty. It's very easy around Qatar to get track limit warnings. Basically in every corner you can get track limit warnings. So
Otis in the box.
We are gonna
Lucas pushing.
take a chill, and Otis is boxing their teammate of Lucas, of course. And Lucas decided to overtake instantly, which meant to me that Lucas was going to box this lap as well. And you can see him pushing his tires straight away. And they're trying to play the game of working together as teammates, with Otis going for the undercut. And yeah, that way they're leading 1-2. And if you're leading as teammates 1-2, that makes the race so much easier. Because you can play it smart, tactically, and get them quite easy 1-2. So I don't blame them. Lucas boxing. We are going to stay out, however, because I want to have slightly fresher tires towards the end of the race. Now, I'm going to have to push here a little bit because Nicolas is behind me, and he probably wants to get ahead of me here. But it also means that we have to box at the end of this lap, because otherwise Nicolas will simply get past us on the straight, and we lose track position with probably more people boxing. I think lap 12, 13 is the point where people can start boxing from hard to medium. And we've gone for a different strategy, medium hard, which gives us better tires at the end. But we are going to be under risk around the pit stop phase, simply because we will have slower tires. And we did not manage to get out of DRS, which was the plan in my head. So at the time I felt like this was not going to be an easy task to keep
within DRS of Blakely.
Nicolas and Thomas all behind on new mediums. As Otis is in the DRS of Lucas, as you can hear, Marcel was race engineering us here tonight in WOR. Otis in the DRS of Lucas, so I decided to box. I knew Otis was going to come out ahead, and I also knew that probably it was going to be really hard passing Otis and Lucas, as they are 1-2, and they will be working together for sure. So Into the box we go. Nicolas doing the same, however. And his strat is probably trying to pass me on the outlap on those mediums. Now, of course, softer rubber has a lower temperature window, operating window, I should say.
So
he will
88 ERS. Otis on roughly 70.
So he will simply have more grip on the outlap, which will help him trying to pass us.
That's fine.
As you can hear me say, they're definitely going to come out ahead. And that was fine by me. We just have to make sure we get DRS so we can kind of cover ourselves up from Nicolas behind. Sorry, I was going to say Lucas. So yeah, we are 1.2 seconds behind now, and 1.3 actually on the exit. And it does seem possible to get back in the DRS. However, we do have cold tires, whereas both Otis and Lucas are on warm hards. So we have less grip at this point in the race, even though our tires are fresher. It is going to take a lap to warm them up. So we're going to have to push with DRS to try and get into that DRS window here, which I definitely will. Now, Nicolas will be thinking the opposite. He is going to try and get past us straight away on those new mediums, or maybe he's playing the longer game and doing the opposite to us. You never know what's going on inside another driver's head. So
Lucas at 7 ERS, not using anymore.
Pushing hard on the ERS here. Now we still have slightly colder tires, which will hurt us in the next few corners, but Otis has the disadvantage of some dirty air through this high speed corners, and it is going to be very close. The DRS detection is coming up right there, and we just got in the DRS by 6/1000ths of a second.
DRS, yeah.
82 for Blakely, 70 Otis, and 70 for long way behind.
And that was such a tight margin, a little bit too close for comfort, as Istvan Pukki sets the fast lap of the race at 23.2. I think on mediums as well, just like Ismail Fassi and Nicolas Longe behind. On to lap 15 now then. You can see Nicolas is pushing behind, he's right on our gearbox, and I feel like we have to go for an overtake into turn 1 for sure, otherwise we can get overtaken by Nicolas. So I've turned on the overtake button,
corner pushing.
even though we don't have a lot more ERS. And into turn 1, Lucas is going to be under threat from Otis, and Otis does not want to overtake him, so we go around the outside of Otis here into turn 1. He leaves us just enough space, and that turns into the inside for the next one. We leave Otis just enough space on the exit, and now we're going to turn on the overtake button once again to help us get ahead here into a net P2. Around the outside we go in the double right-hander. It is close, but we get into a net P2 with Luke Smith still out on those hards. Now, we have drained a lot of our battery, and we are on a lot lower than both Lucas and Nicolas.
Spend 50.
Spend 50 or R on 50?
R on 50.
Copy.
So, yeah, we are at the disadvantage here, but like always, I set the car up on lower downforce, so we can regenerate
85 out of the corner.
Regenerate ERS a little bit faster, and the DRS is going to help with that as well, of course. So,
The 72.
that is always a strategy I go for, even though the car is way harder to drive and probably slower. I just feel more comfortable with it. So,
Nico using, but stopped. He stopped.
as you can hear myself say, Nicolas did turn on the overtake button to go for a move, but I was like, I'm not going back to P3, as I have a little bit of a moment on the exit side by side with Lucas. He is not giving this one up that easily, and we're going to turn on the overtake button once again to try and get ahead. Nicolas is right behind us, having a little look as well. He was smart enough not to make it 3 wide into this right-hander. Me and Lucas have a slight tap, which both send us a little bit wide. And Nicolas and Lucas had a little tap there as well, which cost Lucas quite a bit of lap time and quite a bit of time behind. And they're still going side by side, and this was a time where I realized I might have an opportunity here of breaking out of the DRS. As they're still going side by side, and they're 7.5 tenths behind now. And of course my hards are only going to get faster compared to theirs, as Lucas is in a 1 lap older hards, and Nicolas' mediums will be dropping off. So Nicolas now ahead of Lucas, but his mediums are falling off the cliff. So I'm going to be pushing here in order to try and break out of the DRS. ERS levels should be quite similar, as we both
Nico on 41,
pushed,
you can still do this, I think.
pushed hard. But Nicolas even used more in that battle with Lucas, as you can hear Marshall say
Lucas
there.
47, Nico 37 out of final corner, he stopped using. Nico not using at all. No, he did.
And as you can see in the top left, we are over 1 second ahead
They are
of
fighting,
Nicolas.
he's got this.
And as you can hear Marcel say, they are fighting, and this gives us the perfect opportunity to increase the gap even more. Simply because they're fighting while we're losing each other time. And we still have 37% battery. I don't know what battery Lucas is on, of course. It looked like he didn't use too much in that wheel-to-wheel fight. So he might be coming back later this race. But for now it looks very good for us, because the cap is 1.5 seconds. With Lucas getting DRS once again on the main straight. Nicolas this time around not. And that means Lucas might get ahead, but then he has to gain still 1.5 seconds. So
40.
we are just
Nico
gonna
31.
we're just gonna keep pushing flat out in the coming laps and hope we can stay out of that 1 second window, because I do not want this race to end in a P2 again after being passed on the last lap, because the DRS games are gonna be played, of course, if you're in a 1, 2, 3 position, as you could see last week in Spa, where both me and Lucas did not want to be leading in the last lap, and it ended up with Nicolas on the win. And once again, we might end up in the same position, but Lucas is 1.8 seconds behind, and he might have a lot more ERS. An 8-10 gap, an 8-10 gain is a lot.
Two and 1 lap older tires than you.
And as you can hear Marcel say there, he has more ERS, around 10%. He might have more pace, slightly more. But yeah, we still have the advantage here. We set up our car maybe not ideally for the race, but it is working wonders at the moment. And lap 25 here, only 4 laps to go. And Lucas is going to have to push that ERS quite hard in the coming laps to even close the gap. And you can see we are chilling. Used a bit of ERS there to increase the gap once again. But I've been feeling really confident on this lower downforce kind of setup so far. And of course we might lose a bit of time here in these high speed corners. It does help on the straights obviously with the straight line speed.
1-2 into final corner.
And as you can hear Marcel say there, Lucas on 12% battery
straight at the moment
in that final corner, and we turned it on, used all of our battery, and increased the gap to 1.6 seconds right there. So we have used our advantage of the ERS that Lucas used in the previous laps to close in that gap from 1.8 to 1.2 seconds, but we used it right there. And I actually did make a mistake in lap 27, I think so, which cost me 2 or 3 tenths. We had that margin to play with. And yeah, you can see there 1.1 seconds is the gap. Going into the final lap, we do not have any ERS left, but neither does Lucas. And Nicolas right behind him obviously has been just sitting behind, watching us fight the timing battle. He has been getting DRS every lap, helping us recharge his battery, and now he gets a free overtake into turn 1 on Lucas. So
he's also below 10. Nothing to worry about.
Copy.
As it stands right now, we're gonna gain 10 points to Lucas. I'm not sure if Nicolas is gonna get a penalty for the little tap with Lucas. I don't think he will actually. And behind in the field, some bad racing happened. I can tell you guys now already. I think 2 people received race bans, which is Ismail Fassi and Otis Lawrence. Otis got a 2 race ban and a qualifying ban, so he won't be able to drive for the next 2 races. And then when he once gets to drive again, he has a qualifying ban. And Ismail Fassi got a race ban as well. So it's good to see that WR is being very harsh on not clean racing. So I'm happy they are taking these actions. I think it's good for the league. It's good for top tier league racing in general. But we're once again in P1.
Grazie,
Vamos.
ragazzi.
After a while of finishing P2, I think at some point I finished 3 league races in P2 in a row. So it feels good to finally be back in P1 after a long time, ahead of Nicolas and Lucas, which means we are now leading the championship by 13 points, which is not a lot, but it's better than chasing in P2, 3, 4, or 5. It's been a while since we've taken the championship lead. Or actually, we were leading last week already, of course, as well. But it feels even better now, you know, because we actually drove a really well race. We qualified well, not perfect yet. I definitely still have to improve a lot in qualifying, but we will over time. I feel like the pressure is so off now in qualifying. Now we know we have good pace. Every single qualifying we go into, even with no preparation, we have the chance of getting top 5s, and it just feels good. So I can't wait for the coming months on F1 23 and league racing and esports. Make sure to like and subscribe for more league racing content, and see you guys next time. Ciao.
I'm in the